Nebraska Republican Senator Deb Fischer is a member of the Armed Services Committee. Senator, thank you very much for joining us. Your thoughts on this latest move?
Well, thank you, Charles. I think this latest move is a direct result of the indecisiveness of this administration. When you have President Biden showing weakness by granting Putin his wish for Nord Stream 2, that set the stage for this. And as we look ahead at what we need to do to keep Europe stable, I think we need to be clear that troops are not going into Ukraine, but they're going into our countries, our NATO partners, to show our commitment to NATO and our commitment to security and our commitment to stability of that region.
Yeah, Senator, to that point, I mean, we all play armchair quarterback during football season and when things like this come up. So when I read an infantry squadron sent to Romania on the eastern flank, it sounds more of it as an offensive rather than a defensive move. And again, what happens? We know Americans don't want us to go to war. We don't want to have any armed conflict there. We already made a huge mistake, to your point, with the main asset that we could have negotiated with. So are we putting troops in harm's way needlessly?
Well, of course, we never want to do that. But let's remember, Charles, that NATO is a defensive organization. Putin has tried to color it that he is taking all these belligerent moves in the region towards Ukraine because he is saying NATO is offensive in nature. It puts his country in danger. That is not true. If you follow the Secretary of Defense Minister in the UK, Ben Wallace, his comments that he had recently in Parliament, he wrote an op-ed really highlighting that false narrative that Putin has put out there about NATO. So let's counter that and be honest about what NATO is. NATO is defensive. The Americans that are being sent over by the administration, while I'm sorry that we didn't see sanctions put in place earlier directly on Putin, on his financial institutions that could have slowed this down, could have stopped it. The troops that are going over, they are going because of our commitment to NATO.
Is there any chance then with respect to resolution? We heard an offer was made to inspect bases on both, at least our offer was made to inspect 2 bases. I'm not sure whether Russia would agree to that or not. But is there anything, any sort of last second reprieve possible to avoid armed conflict at this point?
You always hope that you can solve things through diplomacy, but let's be honest here. Putin has been very upfront in rejecting what this administration is offering to him. He has done it with them directly. He has done it through NATO. I think it's because he's going to test the resolve of the Biden administration. When you had President Obama sending MREs and blankets over to Ukraine, followed by President Trump, who sent javelins. Those were defensive arms that he sent to Ukraine. And then we follow with this administration, with President Biden, who looks weak, who looks like he gives in to Putin, and this is the result.
Yeah. Now, you received a briefing today on Afghanistan from Defense Secretary Austin and Secretary Blinken. You said you left frustrated. Why?
I was very frustrated. I usually don't make a lot of comments when I leave briefings or I leave hearings, but this classified briefing did not need to be classified. We spoke about Afghanistan. We spoke about Ukraine. There was very little that would have been of a classified nature that was brought up. This was a hearing with the 2 secretaries, with the Armed Services Committee, as well as the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. The American people have a right to know on what is going on in Afghanistan now, what our posture is there, what we can do, what we should do, and the same for Ukraine. And instead, they basically demanded that they would be there, but only for a closed classified hearing. That is not right. And I was frustrated, and many of my colleagues were as well.
Senator, thank you so much for your time and your wisdom. Thank you very much.
Thank you.